Minasan, ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing okay at the moment. And if not, know that it's okay not to be okay sometimes. Today, I will be sharing one of the things that I recently crossed out in my bucket list this year. But before that, I would like to tell you that these past few weeks have been very exhausting for me. I kind of disregard my need for quiet time. I was really occupied with work, and I noticed that it has been very detrimental to my whole being, that I felt my soul longs for quiet time and a break where I could reflect about the present moment. I have cultivated a habit of spending time alone with my Savior, so I often withdrew myself from the crowd. In times I am overwhelmed and downcasted with the troubles this world brings. However, just like what I said, I have allowed my schedule to take over. So I decided to stop working and set it aside for a while and decided to share this special moment with you. Since it's my day off, I decided to cross out one of the bullets in my bucket list, which is to have my own tiny garden, grow sunflower, and try to grow other plants as well. But by the way, I don't have a green thumb to begin with. I have tried planting flowers and plants way back in the Philippines, and they all faced horrible death in a matter of days. However, I believe that there is no harm in trying again. After all, failures are evidences that you're trying. And last year, I started claiming that I have a green thumb. Again. I bought a tiny rubber plant and a snake plant, repotted them in a small pot, and believe it or not, they are still alive and wonderfully growing. My rubber plant used to have 4 leaves only, but now it grew. I was so inspired by it so much that I wanted to plant more. Hence, it landed to my bucket list this year. This time, I repotted the herbs that I bought. I have basil, mint, chamomile, and lavender, which I am proud to say I grew from a seed. I have plans to harvest them in the future to make my own tea, and of course, there's no doubt that I will share this with you in my future videos. As an anthophile, a person who loves flowers, I decided and challenged myself to grow my own sunflower. I also planted cherry tomatoes and green pepper. I have an expectation, of course, that they will grow, but just in case they won't, that's okay. I will just try again next time. Planting or growing a seed requires a lot of things. In order for a seed to grow, they need a good soil that contains nutrients, water, sunlight, the right temperature, and most importantly, time. Observing the process of how a seed grows into plants has been a wonderful experience. When I started growing my lavender from a seed, I was very impatient. I wanted it to grow right away, but that is not its nature. So I learned that I should be patient. Never have I thought that as I waited for my lavender to grow, the seed of patience also started to grow in my heart. When I started to see it sprout, my heart skipped a bit. I celebrated. I did. And I think this is worth comparing to our lives. it's really hard to be caught up and to see ourselves in the waiting season. I have been there. I've been there before, and I think I can say that I am in a different waiting season now. But I have learned this principle that I wanted to share with you. My principle in all of my waiting season. Try to always consider yourself as a seed. I mean, at this very moment, try to consider yourself as a seed as of the moment. You may be planted in a soil or in a place where you don't get to see yourself growing yet. Everything seems to be so dark, and not to mention that there are gloomy days wherein you don't get enough sunlight nor water, and there are days when the sun is too hot and the water feels overwhelming that you feel like you're drowning. The temperature of life might seem to be unfair and inconsistent sometimes, and the time we pour on the waiting season feels like a lifetime. Can you relate? I do, and I did. But all of these are necessary. Necessary for our roots to grow deeper. Deeper enough to hold us and sustain us as we come forth or as we sprout above the soil where we are planted. Roots that are deep enough to hold us as we face unexpected calamities in life. Roots that are deep enough to hold us when a strong wind tries to uproot us, or not to mention someone who will try to take advantage of us with their sting of life, unintentionally sometimes. That is why the waiting season is a precious one. The waiting season may be dark, but it's a vital one. So just grow where you are currently planted. But most importantly, have faith in the one who planted you there. He holds the time. He knows what you need. We may not understand him sometimes, but he cares about you. You are his seed. He watches over you as you grow, so let him grow. Let him grow your roots deeper first, and trust his timing. Sometimes his timing is very terrible, but one thing's for sure, he's never late. His timing is really something that you should trust. To be honest with you, tears are falling as I compose this script. To be honest, I really had long and dark waiting seasons before that. When it comes to mind, tears would just fall, but I am glad. I am really glad that the one who planted me stayed by my side up until now. Just the fact he occasionally transfer me into different soil or land. Does that make sense? Sometimes in a pot, which I ever so often mumble at times, yet I remain faithful. My roots are now deep, and I do handle waiting season way differently than before. So consider this waiting season as a preparation for you. For the greater things that await. Consider this season as a time to grow deeper. After all, underground is where life begins, and I believe what's in you will grow someday. So, to end this video, let me encourage you not to grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So let us give thanks to the beauty of today will see you on my next video where I will share with you spoken poetry about my Savior's love. Kindest regards, the enlightened soul.